Betsy and the stock, he concluded to return to his first plan and close the camp. All the sap collected that day went into the vinegar barrel. He loaded the kettles, buckets, and spiles, and stopped at the spice thicket to cut a bale of twigs as he passed. He carried one load to the wagon and returned for another. Downwind, on swift wing, came a bird and entered the bushes. Motionless, the Harvester peered at it. A mourning dove had returned to him through snow, skifting over cold earth. It settled on a limb and began dressing its plumage. At that instant a wavering coo coo ah coo broke in sobbing notes from the deep wood. Without paying the slightest heed, the dove finished a wing, ruffled and settled her feathers, and opened her bill in a human-like yawn. The Harvester smiled. The notes swelled closer in renewed pleading. The cry was beyond doubt a courting male, and this an indifferent female. Her beady eyes snapped, her head turned coquettishly, a picture of self-possession. She hid among the dense twigs of the spice thicket. Around the outside circled the pleading male. With shining eyes the Harvester watched. These were of the things that made life in the woods most worth while. More insistent grew the wavering notes of the lover. More indifferent became the beloved. She was superb in her poise as she amused herself in hiding. A perfect burst of confused, sobbing notes broke on the air. Then, away in the deep wood, a softly wavering, half questioning coo-ah answered them. Amazement flashed into the eyes of the Harvester, but his face was not nearly so expressive as that of the bird. She lifted a bewildered head and grew rigid in an attitude of tense listening. There was a pause. In quicker measure and crowding notes, the male called again. Instantly the soft coo wavered in answer. The surprised little hen bird of the thicket hopped straight up and settled on her perch again, her dark eyes indignant as she uttered a short coo. The muscles of the Harvester's chest were beginning to twitch and quiver. More intense grew the notes of the pleading male. Softly seductive came the reply. The clapping of his wings could be heard as he flew in search of the charmer. "Ag, coo!" cried the deserted female as she tilted off the branch and tore through the thicket in pursuit, with wings hastened by fright at the ringing laugh of the Harvester. "Not so indifferent after all, Bel," he said to the dog, standing in stiff point beside him. "That was all pretend, but she waited just a trifle too long. Now she will have to fight it out with a rival. Good thing if some of the flirtatious women could have seen that. Help them to learn their own minds sooner." He laughed as he heaped the twigs on top of the wagon and started down the hill chuckling. Belshazzar followed, leading Betsy straight in the middle of the road by the hitching strap. A few yards ahead the man stopped suddenly with lifted hand. The dog and horse stood motionless. A dove flashed across the road and settled in sight on a limb. Almost simultaneously another perched beside it, and they locked bills in a long caress, utterly heedless of a plaintive coo in the deep wood. "Settled," said the Harvester. "Jupiter, I wish my troubles were that nearly finished. Wish I knew where she is and how to find my way to her lips. Wonder if she will come when I call her. What if I should find her and she would have everything on earth, other lovers and indifference worse than Madam Dove's for me. Talk about bitterness! Well, I'd have the dream left anyway, and there are always two sides. There is just a possibility that she may be poor and overworked, sick and tired, and wondering why I don't come. Possibly she had a dream too, and she wishes I would hurry. Dear Lord." The Harvester began to perspire as he strode down the hill. He scarcely waited to hang the harness properly. He did not stop to unload the wagon until night, but went after an ax and a board that he split into pegs. Then he took a ball of twine, a measuring line, and began laying out his foundation, when the hard earth would scarcely hold the stakes he drove into it. When he found he only would waste time in digging, he put away the neatly washed kettles, peeled the spice brush, spread it to dry, and prepared his dinner. After that he began hauling stone and cement for his basement floor and foundation walls. Occasionally he helped at hewing logs when the old man paused to rest. That afternoon the first robin of the season hailed him in passing. "Hello!" cried the Harvester. "You don't mean to tell me that you have beaten the larks. You really have! Well, since I see it, I must believe, but you are early. Come around to the back door if crumbs or wheat will do, or if you can make out on suet and meat bones. We are good and ready for you. Where's your mate? For any sake don't tell me you don't know. One case of that kind at Medicine Woods is enough. Say you came ahead to see if it is too cold, or to select a home and get ready for her. Say anything on earth except that you love her and want her until your body is one quivering ache and you don't know where she is." End of chapter 3.